Some claim that stories of the Bermuda Triangle originated with the strange sightings recorded by Christopher Columbus on his voyage to the Bahamas. Over the years, the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle have inspired many stories and eerie tales. But are any of them true? Keep watching as we explore the realities and superstitions of the Bermuda Triangle. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle is one of the most enduring myths in modern history. It consists of an area of the Atlantic Ocean off the Florida and Cuban coasts. While the boundaries of the triangle are debated, it is generally accepted that the 3 points lie at the bays of Miami, San Juan, and the island of Bermuda. Over 50 ships and aircraft have disappeared in this area, usually under mysterious circumstances. Also known as the Devil's Triangle, strange disappearances have occurred in the area since at least the 1800s. Many of the vessels were reported to have sent confusing messages or no distress signals at all before they vanished, never to be seen or heard from again. There are many supernatural explanations postulated around these seemingly connected losses, including leftover technology from an advanced civilization that resided on Atlantis and was lost beneath the waves. Others believe it is a connection point to a parallel universe that causes time and space to warp and transport objects into another dimension, or that it is a hotspot for alien activity. But are any of these theories valid? Before we answer, let's look at the 5 most famous disappearances to happen in the Bermuda Triangle. Number 1. The Ellen Austin. The first vessel reported missing in the Bermuda Triangle was the USS Pickering in 1800. By 1881, 2 other ships had been lost in the area, with an additional vessel, Rosalie, found abandoned. The story of the Ellen Austin isn't actually about the disappearance of the named ship, but of a supposed ghost ship that was encountered in the area. In 1881, the Ellen Austin set sail from London destined for New York. The ship was transporting emigrants from England to America. The craft had been at sea for weeks when the captain steered the vessel off course, deciding he would try and take a shortcut through the Sargasso Sea. This new setting took them into the area now known as the Bermuda Triangle. While sailing the new route, the captain of the Ellen Austin spotted another vessel that seemed to be in distress. The ship was moving but sailing erratically and aimlessly. As the Ellen Austin drew closer, they noticed that the ship seemed to have been abandoned. In those days, if a ship was found lost or empty, those who recovered it had a claim to the vessel and any cargo. To try and salvage the ship, the captain sent a small team to explore the other vessel. They confirmed that the ship was empty, and there was a cargo of mahogany on board, and various personal possessions and food. There was no sign of violence or any explanation as to what happened to those on board. The ship was seaworthy, so the captain instructed the skeleton crew to remain aboard and sail it back to New York. However, 2 days later, a storm sprung up, after which the crew of the Ellen Austin realized that the other ship and their crewmates were gone. Several days later, the captain and crew once again spotted the unknown craft, and once again there was no one aboard. Unable to spare any more manpower, the captain was forced to leave the ship and continue to New York. The unknown ship was never seen again, and the fate of the original crew, as well as those who attempted to salvage the vessel, are unknown to this day. Number 2. USS Cyclops, 1918. This well-recorded incident resulted in the largest loss of life in the U.S. Navy's history that was unrelated to enemy combat. The ship, with a crew of 306, was carrying a load of manganese ore when it disappeared at some point after March 4, 1981. The boat was supposed to transport its cargo from Brazil to Barbados to resupply before heading to Baltimore. The USS Cyclops was due to reach Barbados after 9 days. Its last known message was, "Weather fair, all well." But after that, the ship was never heard from again. No SOS message was sent, and the wreckage was never recovered. Number 3. Flight 19 and PBM Mariner, 1945. At 2:10 p.m. on December 5, 1945, 5 Avenger torpedo bombers took off on a routine training flight. They were collectively known as Flight 19 and were supposed to head east from the Florida coast and turn north to Grand Bahama Island before flying southwest back to base. The pilots were experienced and were led by a well-respected veteran, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. The first part of the flight went without incident, but during the second leg of the journey, Taylor reported that his compass had stopped working and that they were flying in the wrong direction. Taylor reported, "Both my compasses are out, and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down." The claim was nonsensical, as the planes had just been over the Bahamas an hour earlier. Yet Taylor was convinced he was over the Gulf of Mexico. Shortly after 6 p.m., Flight 19 was heard preparing for a possible crash landing as their fuel was running low. Taylor was heard saying, "All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." From there, the transmissions were nothing but static. The Navy immediately sent small seaplanes to hunt for the missing squadron, but 20 minutes later, one of the seaplanes sent on the rescue mission also disappeared, never to be recovered. Number 4. The Witchcraft. On December 22, 1967, hotelier Daniel Burke invited his friend, Father Patrick Hogan, for an excursion on his 23-foot-long luxury cabin cruiser. They planned to sail along the Miami coast to enjoy the Christmas lights. They left Miami Yacht Marina in good spirits, but by 9 p.m., the Coast Guard received a call from Burke. Far from being in distress, Burke calmly explained that he thought his boat had hit something and it needed to be towed to shore. As they were less than a mile offshore, this shouldn't have been an issue, and Burke informed the Coast Guard that he had flares that he would use to alert the rescuers to their position. The boat and its 2 passengers were never seen again, despite the Coast Guard reaching their last known location in less than 20 minutes. The Coast Guard searched the area and covered around 1,200 square miles before the operation was deemed a failure. To make the situation even stranger, the Witchcraft was manufactured with flotation devices, including one in the hull that would ensure a part of the hull would always be over the water. By December 28th, the search was called off for good, and the Coast Guard released a final statement reading, "They are presumed missing but not lost at sea." For all intents and purposes, Daniel Burke, Father Hogan, and the Witchcraft had disappeared without a trace. Number 5. The Great Isaac Lighthouse Keepers. The Great Isaac Lighthouse is stationed on a barren island with its own grim history of shipwrecks. In the mid-1800s, a lighthouse was put into service on the island, bringing the total population up to 2, the Lighthouse Keepers. In the summer of 1969, routine calls to the island went unanswered. On August 4th, a small boat journeyed to the lighthouse to check on the keepers. On their arrival, they found the lighthouse in perfect condition, but the keepers were gone and were never seen or heard from again. So, is the Bermuda Triangle a hotbed of supernatural activity, or is it merely superstition? While there is no doubt that a large number of vessels have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle, there is no suggestion that it is a greater number than anywhere else in the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, there have been numerous mysterious disappearances around the globe that have nothing to do with the Bermuda Triangle. The Mary Celeste, Amelia Earhart's disappearance, Pan Am Flight 7, and Malaysian Flight 370 all had nothing to do with the Bermuda Triangle, despite some trying to make tenuous links to it. The first mention of the Bermuda Triangle was in a 1964 article by Vincent Gaddis. Gaddis was a freelance writer who specialized in paranormal phenomena. His writings on the Bermuda Triangle and spontaneous human combustion have been highly criticized. Not only is Gaddis's writing misleading and inaccurate, he often ignored logical explanations in favor of creating mystery. As to all the famous disappearances, there is usually a more logical explanation than aliens or parallel universes. There is no proof to support the incident that reportedly occurred to the crew of the Ellen Austin in 1881. Although there was a ship of that name from that year, no casualties were reported, and it seems likely that the occurrence was little more than an urban legend. It appears that the first written record of this story was in 1944 when a retired Navy officer detailed the account in his book, The Stargazing Talks. In the cases of the USS Cyclops, the prevailing theory is that the heavy cargo of manganese ore was loaded incorrectly and caused the ship to capsize unexpectedly and sink into the Puerto Rico Trench. Many believe that the leader of Flight 19, Charles C. Taylor, mistook small islands offshore of the Florida Keys and thought his compass had stopped working. The most commonly accepted theory is that the Navy reported that the cause of the loss was unknown to spare Taylor from blame. The missing seaplane is thought to have exploded after takeoff, as they were notoriously accident-prone and tended to catch fire. While the case of the Witchcraft is unsolved to this day, Many think it may be linked to a robbery gone wrong rather than anything supernatural. As for the Lighthouse Keepers, they may have been swept off the island during Hurricane Eta, although some suggest they were involved in a smuggling ring and either abandoned their posts or were kidnapped. These famous incidents have radically different explanations, and the only thing that links them is that they all occurred in what is now referred to as the Bermuda Triangle. But what about all the others? Although the number of incidents is not entirely disproportionate in relation to any other area of the Atlantic, there are several other natural explanations for why vessels go missing. Firstly, Bermuda has 230 square miles of offshore reefs, covering 10 times the land area of the islands. Even the best local captains take great care when maneuvering these waters for fear of striking the reefs. Secondly, Bermuda is susceptible to extreme weather conditions, with devastating storms in the form of subtropical and tropical storms, as well as hurricanes. The weather can change unexpectedly and suddenly, which, along with the reef system, probably accounts for a large proportion of shipwrecks in the area. There is also scientific proof that large pockets of methane gas that are trapped on the ocean floor around Bermuda, Miami, and Puerto Rico can erupt to the surface, sinking a ship and engulfing it in disturbed settlement almost immediately. Furthermore, the Bermuda Triangle sustains heavy traffic, both in the air and the sea, contributing to the number of accidents in the vicinity. Undoubtedly, the Bermuda Triangle is a dangerous area, but in 2013, the World Wildlife Fund determined that it wasn't even in the top 10 of the world's most dangerous bodies of water. But whether you believe that the Bermuda Triangle is a mysterious portal to another dimension or not is up to you. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about history, check out our Captivating History book series, available as ebooks, paperbacks, and audiobooks. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.